What is up, guys? Dirty Boot Sports, and we are back with another interview. This time, it's our second in-person interview, I believe.
Yeah.
After Coach Blank back in the summer.
Yeah.
We're here with
Kelton.
Oh, yeah, Kelton was
Kelton,
here.
yeah.
That wasn't even an interview. He was just here. He was just having fun.
He was his couch. He's one to go to his
he
couch.
went on his couch. We're here with Fastbreak ENT. Nick, right? Here we go.
Yes, sir.
Say what's up to everybody.
What's going on, everybody? Nic Lang. I've been doing Fastbreak for 6 or 7 years now, and I'm excited to be on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we with the All-Star Classic coming up next weekend, we were like, this would be a cool opportunity to reach out, just get local guy on and spread the news about a big event that's coming to
That's right.
North
And
Louisiana.
just talk hoops.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's get into it. Peyton, you want to start it off with a question?
Man, yeah, I will. I guess just how did you? What made you do this? What made you think about doing this? What was there an ideal? Was there a moment? Was there?
There was a moment, and it was completely accidental.
Okay.
Like we talked about, I played for Atlanta.
Yeah.
I graduated in 2012. And after I graduated, I went to LSU for a little while, and I didn't go to many basketball games, for the next couple of years. We were consistently in the semifinals and championship games during that time. But then I came home and ended up going to a game, and a guy named Terrence Sapp. There was actually 2 Terrence Sapps on my team. But
What?
But anyway, and they were brothers.
Not Atlanta, Georgia. We're talking about here. Atlanta, Wynn Parish,
Verda.
Yeah.
So this particular Terrence Sapp, I think, was an 8th grader when I was a senior, and I went to the game, and he come up to me at the game and said, "I'm gonna get my first dunk tonight. I'm making it happen." I said, okay.
All right.
He said, "I want somebody to have it on video." He said, "Would you mind recording the game on your phone in case I get my dunk?"
Yeah.
And so, of course, I didn't mind, so I filmed the game, and he got his dunk. And I was excited for him, whatever. And I've always kind of been into the I used to be on Movie Maker and put songs together and try to make mashups of songs, So I've always been into that kind of stuff. So when I got home that night, I downloaded a video app, and I put, I think, Arm & Hammer. The Arm & Hammer.
Kevin Gates.
Everybody's
sworn favorite.
I put that on the clip of him dunking and sent it to him. And I think I posted it probably on Facebook at the time. And, of course, everybody on the team loved it. They wanted their own clip.
Yeah.
So I started going to a couple games, for him, just recording the game on my phone. And a lot of even if you scroll all the way back on Fastbreak, I don't know how far it goes, but there are a lot of mixtapes that do not have a Fastbreak logo on them. They say "By Nic Lang," whatever.
Yeah.
Say, Atlanta versus Saline or whatever. So I started doing that, here and there, and I think we went, me and my girlfriend at the time and one of my best friends had gone to Saline, and I want to say that Atlanta was playing Jonesboro Hodge.
Oh, here we go.
At,
there you go.
At a Christmas tournament in
yeah.
Saline.
That sounds right.
And it just so happened that, and this was a major, my friend takes credit for Fastbreak ever becoming a thing, and I'll never let him know that it did have a very big impact on it. But it just so happened that a certain pair of Jordans released that day. So he wanted to leave the game and go straight to Natchitoches to Hibbett's to get the shoes. Well, we're cutting from Saline to Natchitoches and past Lakeview.
Oh, there you go.
And there's a line of cars coming from the Atlanta game going to Natchitoches. Well, we're behind them. They start turning off at Lakeview.
What year was this?
This would have been 2015.
Okay.
Like the 2015-16
With
season.
the kid that went to Arkansas, Bailey?
Yes.
There we go.
Okay.
So that'd been like your freshman year.
That team
huh?
was scary, yeah.
I was like, I told my friends, like, pull in, just see who's playing, There was cars everywhere. We pulled in, and some of the Atlanta people were getting out of their cars, so we rolled the window down, and I hollered. I said, who is Lakeview playing? They said New Living Word.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
We'd played New Living Word like 3 years straight, 2 or 3 years straight, and they beat us every time. I said,
Fake school, by the way.
I said, we're getting out. We can go get the shoes later. I've got to see New Living Word play.
Yeah.
Well, we walked in, and I was sitting at the top of the bleachers.
Because there wasn't another seat available, I'm sure.
Right. And out walks Adro Bailey.
Yes.
I said, I feel like I need to record this. and Cameron too was like 6'7", 6'8". You know, Adro was 6'8" or so, and
Was Tracy Hampton on that team from
New Living Word?
New Living Word. That boy was so
I really
good.
have no idea.
You know who I'm talking about though?
I think so.
Dude, he was so good. He ended up moving like to Memphis or something like that, and then played like a little JUCO ball.
Yeah.
Didn't make no sense that he didn't go bigger. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, man,
I was
good.
just thinking about that, man. Because I came across him on Instagram the other day. Really? And I was like, dude, I ain't heard this dude's name in forever.
Yeah, he was
Right.
part of like that three-peat they
Yeah,
had.
yeah, when he's talking about
Yeah.
around then.
And anyway, I filmed the game. I filmed that game on my phone, and you know they put on a show. I mean, Adro went crazy.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing, man. I put some clips together. I put some music behind it, and I guess I was posting it then. I mean, everything was on my personal, personal page. I was just doing it, for fun, and posted it, tagged them in it, and they were like, we need you at all our games. And I was like, it's pretty cool. Like, I enjoyed the basketball of it. I enjoyed the music of it. I'd always enjoyed watching the mixtapes and, all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, cool. Like, I started going to some games. Their coach, Brian Williams, he was a big part of Fastbreak becoming a thing too, man, because he was so supportive and open to it. And that's
I mean, you can't just walk up and start filming at someone's gym.
Exactly, man. And when I was first getting started, man, I ran into that a lot. It was a struggle for a long time. But he would get me to come on Sundays. They would have like open gym. Yeah. And he would get me to come up there and look at film with him of his guys and meet everybody and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, man, I as you can tell, I mean, I started on my phone doing it, and then I finally, actually, my first camera I got was actually a baby shower gift from my oldest son, and my parents had gotten it for us, to take pictures of him, whatever. Yeah. So I said, that thing's got to be able to record video, and phones have come a long way since 2015, 16.
Yeah.
Even though
now it's
ago.
camera quality,
right? Yeah. So I was looking for something better, and something with some zoom on it mainly. So I broke that camera out and started using it and kind of started branching out. I went to a few Natchitoches Central games. Of course, I was still going to Atlanta games. I'm sure I was at the Atlanta. I know I was at the Atlanta Winfield game that year. Caught a couple Ruston, and then, man, it really just took off from there, man. That's when I fell in love with doing it, though, because I had no idea I would. Like I said, I was interested in certain aspects of it, all along, and they all come together at one time. But it was never a plan for me to do anything like this. I always wanted to. I knew I wasn't. I loved basketball so much. Loved it. That's all I wanted to do. I knew I wasn't good enough to play after high school. So I always wanted. A lot of times when I was in high school, I was trying to figure out what courses you take to be like a sports agent.
Absolutely.
Or different things like that. I just wanted to be around the game, and that was a big part of it. And then I ended up finding a way to do that. Yeah. And it was just something completely unexpected.
On accident.
Yep.
How did the name come about? What was?
Okay. I was trying to come up with something catchy. I brainstormed for a long time on it, on my notes on my phone and on paper, whatever. I was trying to find something original too, because Instagram was really taking off then. And I was following like Uncle Drew Productions in Florida. Yeah. And different pages and stuff around. I was like, I need something that I'm gonna people will remember. Something that's easy to say, something that's kind of catchy.
And it fits in.
Right.
Honestly.
So, and the most exciting play to me in basketball is a fast break.
Absolutely.
Because you never know what's got to happen. You never, whatever.
Good or bad.
So, so fast break. And then a lot of people laugh when I tell them this, but the ENT came from Trill Fam. So,
all right.
So that's where I got that from. So Fast Break Entertainment. That's it. So
sweet.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you hear that name, you don't think, oh, this is from a guy from Atlanta, Louisiana, not Georgia. It seems global. It honestly
bigger.
does.
That's right.
It really does.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's a very good name.
Yeah, and
very
the
catchy
whole
name.
story about how you wanted to use your love for sports and everything to make this company. It honestly reminds me a lot of our situation.
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
we've always wanted to just podcast, and
Right.
then it just kind of happened. We're like, it took one day where we're like, let's do this.
Like,
and
I
then
think Kyle texted everybody. Was
He
like,
did.
"Hey, we should do this."
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the
And
next
then-
week, I mean, we're
sitting at
recording.
his
Yeah,
kitchen
we're sitting.
table.
We're sitting together recording, and then now we're here.
Nick, we were
It's really
sitting at
cool.
his kitchen table at his house, and we had that one mic smaller than that one
Yeah.
right there in front of you.
That's the Magnum.
And-
we had the probably the lifestyle.
And so there's
of that.
like 6 of us guys were on a table, and we'd lean up to it and talk. The next day, Clay goes, "Hey guys,"
Hey, after I was up till 6 a.m. editing,
that's right. He goes, "That mic was never on the whole time.
Oh, man.
I was
we
using
were
my
using the
laptop
laptop
speaker.
mic."
Man.
and we wondered why it sounded like horribly.
Oh, it's awful.
And that's like our most downloaded episode, so
Yes.
it's kind of
So yeah,
sad.
if you go back, any new listeners, go back to episode 1. Awful quality.
awful
Awful.
quality. Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
So, talk about some of your, I guess, your biggest experiences that, I guess, helped you take that jump.
Well-
do you have any that jump out to you?
Well, and he made a good point too. Like when you started, Instagram was starting to take off. Then.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it was timing.
He got in
perfect
at the
for you.
right
Yeah,
time.
exactly. I mean, like,
He missed and won,
yeah.
but he hopped in whenever Instagram
Yeah,
got big,
right.
and
it
that's
couldn't
nothing
time
but.
it
I mean,
better.
that's what you want when you go to Instagram. That's what you want to watch and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I mean, like it just hit perfect for you.
And I know, man, a really important thing that I recognized, from the beginning, and part of why I started doing it in the first place, at the time, it was not a thing in
Yeah.
Louisiana.
Yeah, definitely.
There were some guys like Josh Preston in New Orleans. G Sports was probably going by that time, but it was more local, like news
New Orleans
type,
type
coverage
stuff,
So
especially not up here. There wasn't
Right.
anything.
so with Instagram really starting to take off at the time and being not first but first,
Yeah,
was a huge head start.
Yeah.
It was a huge head start for the brand. That's what's really, because there's a lot of people that do it now.
yeah,
And and I've always thought, man, there's plenty of room for everybody that wants to do it.
Mhm.
Anybody that's ever messaged me, whatever I can help them with,
Yeah.
whatever. So,
and there's only so many places you can go on a Friday
right,
night.
exactly, that's right. So,
There's so many hidden gems. Like, I think about like Ravel. Whenever
Right.
they first got big again, and people down south would have never even thought to come up to the middle of freaking nowhere
Yeah.
to
Right.
go watch Ravel drop 100 on everybody.
Right
every
beside, right
night.
beside a corn vending
know?
machine.
Yeah. Like there's so much good basketball hidden everywhere in Louisiana. People just don't get, like Atlanta even.
right.
Like probably like right after you got done is when they started winning championships like
Right.
every other year. New Living Word.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever heard of them schools from down south,
No.
So it's good to have somebody from up here that's helping promote them.
And then
You
I mean,
know.
Winfield this year, Jonesboro the past
Winfield
couple
coming
years
out of
with
nowhere
Papa.
this year. Yeah, Papa becoming a national recruit almost,
Yeah.
basically, I guess you could
Yeah, I
say.
mean, I know I was in school when Papa was there and Chance was at Lincoln Prep.
Yep.
When like the whole day, people were just talking about that game, and then they're like, "Fast Break's gonna be there." Like that was always cool to hear. And
And
yeah, I
like
mean,
the
now we're here
Lakeview
with
games
this.
that year, too.
Oh, definitely.
It's
Yeah.
like Lakeview's good every year, too.
Somehow, yeah, they always are.
And that's just another thing, man, that shows the power of social media.
Yep.
Because there, like you say, a lot of people wouldn't know about them small schools. I think there's a Madison Prep and Rayville matchup
Ooh,
that strictly happened because of the social media talk.
yeah.
Was
You know,
that
they went-
the tournament down south?
They played
What's that called?
I think a home and home.
Okay.
Oh, they did a home and home as well?
Madison Prep played at Rayville.
They came to Rayville.
Really?
Mhm. I was gonna go
'Cause
to
I
it.
knew, like, Rayville would always play in a weird tournament down
Yeah,
south
it
somewhere.
happens
in a
around
big
like
school.
Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah.
Showdown in the Lake.
That's it.
That's it.
Showdown
yeah.
in the Lake. Yep, that's a great one.
Lake Arthur?
Lake Charles, just
Oh, okay.
But I think a lot of that came from all the hype around Rayville on social media. Madison Prep was known,
Yeah.
and Rayville was known up this way, but nobody down south
No.
knew what
No.
Rayville was. They so it was pretty cool, man, to see some of the stuff and how the game has evolved over the past few years, and a big thing I think a lot of schools are what I call catching up with the times.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting a lot more involved as a team or whatever you would call it on social media. I think
Yeah.
that's big. I think that's big for the athletes.
Definitely.
So it's definitely grown a lot from when I got into it. and it's a lot further along now than it was then for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you think like with Ravel, Malik Wilson, he's the name that comes out to me.
Yeah,
we
me
played
too.
him my sophomore year. We went and lost by like 40 in the second round there. But I mean, that's a guy from Ravel who now played Texas Tech on nationally ranked teams and
deserved that.
Yeah,
Deserved it all along.
absolutely.
So,
But
it never felt like he was the best player on their team. That was so weird.
well, it's because he didn't have to.
He didn't have to be, though.
They were
Exactly.
so
but
loaded.
he's the only one that went anywhere.
I mean, they were 15 deep.
Yeah.
I mean, so literally they go 5
what
in,
happened
5
to these
out.
other kids? Like,
Yeah.
did they not get the ACT score or something?
A lot of them, man, and most of them were Wilsons. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
a lot of them were family.
There's
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 of them.
I think the thing that set Malik apart was that he had, this. They had 2. I guess they were brothers. I hope I'm not misremembering that. Red and Black was what they called them.
Okay.
And one was a post player, and he had some moves. He was like.
Did he wear glasses?
No, that's Nashawn Ellis.
Okay,
Yes,
I knew
yeah.
somebody wore
Tall
glasses.
kid. He went to LSUA. I'm not sure where he's at now, but he would kind of had some Nas Reed to his game to
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
And then Red, he could play inside, but he was more of a wing. Whatever they
Yeah.
they were athletic, but they weren't like ultra athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And Malik to me had the best of all the good players. He had the best of all of them combined into
Yeah.
one player. And I think that's what set him apart and really pushed him, and man, he was awesome, and he was so much fun. There's a lot of guys, that I'll think about from time to time and think, I miss getting to watch them all the time.
Yeah.
And he's one of those guys.
We actually were talking about one, and you might be too young for. Do you remember Excelsior Christian out of Monroe?
Yes.
What Darius done?
Yep.
I mean, like
Yep.
I played against him.
Yep.
We were talking about him the other day. Like, I mean, a little
After
small.
we figured out the school finally.
Yeah, finally, yeah. Class C school that was just phenomenal, and you're just like, okay, he's going to Baylor, and then you're like, 4 years later, he breaks the Big 12 all-time
Right.
scoring record. You're like, he came from a Class C
Right.
school out of Monroe. You know?
I was at a playoff game. It was actually at Winfield, but that was when playoff games were neutral sites.
Oh yeah.
That's way
And
back. Yeah.
Atlanta was playing Excelsior Christian,
Yeah.
and he hit. I'm pretty sure he hit a free throw with like almost no time left to beat Atlanta, and so that name stuck with me from then. And I went and filmed a semi-pro team several years ago in Monroe that plays at some like community center. I'm not sure
Oh,
if
wow.
they're even still a team now, but I noticed there was a big trophy case outside, or, in the lobby,
yeah.
and they had all of his stuff out there. Man, I was like, I remember this guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like we're friends on Facebook. I posted some pictures of my son this morning, and he liked it. So it's funny that you mentioned him.
Yeah.
But
At least Darius
but
Dunn
yeah,
was
man,
so
he
freaking
he
good,
was
man.
awesome, man.
Is he still playing professional ball overseas?
I'm pretty sure.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Good
he
for
is.
him.
Yeah, good for him, man. Dude,
Good for
absolutely.
him.
Peyton, you could do it.
Yeah,
You can do
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Another one that I always think about, like under the radar, probably the best I saw. Went to Grambling, Devontae Turner. You know who I'm talking about?
Yep.
That kid was so good.
Yeah,
man.
you mentioned him the other day, and
Yes, he
went
played at
to-
St. Peter's.
Yeah, and it never clicked with me last year during the tournament that was the same St. Peter's.
Yeah, he was like
2
all
years off
conference,
probably
like
from
2 or
that.
3 times up there.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, he could shoot the lights out the gym.
I've filmed him a couple times at some like adult tournaments,
Uh-huh.
that people host. I've seen him a few times playing with some guys from Winfield.
Can he still
You know,
hoop?
they're- oh yeah, man, he's
He was
he's
so
sick,
freaking
man.
nice,
He's awesome.
man. Like people talked about Chance, like whenever
Mhm.
Papa was playing, this kid could wipe the floor with Chance. In my opinion, like I'm telling you, he was legit. Another one that played up there. He went to Jonesboro a little while, then went up there, and then really didn't do much. DeAndre McGuire, he was a shorter guy.
Oh, yeah, I remember
he
him.
could freaking hoop too, though, man.
Yeah, we could talk old guys all day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
But,
I had a couple of names I was going to bring up for sure.
Let's talk about the All-Star Classic, though. So, happening next week, the 29th, I believe.
29th,
All right, at Wassman. Give us just a rundown of the event.
Man, we in 2019, man, I started thinking there's got to be some way to get all of these guys. In 2019, I was pretty well statewide by then.
Yeah.
But I was doing a lot of traveling. I was going to Baton Rouge 3 or 4 nights a week, and then driving back for work the next morning. But they had some loaded classes, especially the 2020 class. It was one of the most loaded classes of of my memory.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that
but man,
Papa's class?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Jalen Cook.
Jalen Cook.
Jalen
Chance,
Cook.
and all those guys, man.
They're all in that same AAU team.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I had gotten in with them, and that was a big part of how I really got going too. But man, I thought there's got to be a way to get all these guys together to play.
Yeah.
And kind of like the idea of not knowing where Ravel was. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there's a lot of I want all these guys to get to play with each other.
Yeah.
And that year I organized which I was very inexperienced with events and things like that. I knew what I knew, and I knew how to be what I thought at the time was good at what I did. But even today, there's so many things that I need to learn and whatever. But getting into events was something I really thought would boost the brand. And so in 2019, we had our first All-Star Classic at Ruston.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just North Louisiana guys come. I wanted to start small. At the time, I wanted to do a North Louisiana game, a South Louisiana game, maybe a Central Louisiana game. And people kept talking. It's like, man, I wish somebody would do a real North versus South game.
Yeah.
And that was always, is New Orleans the best hoop city this
Yeah.
year? Is it Monroe? Bossier was big at the time. That was probably around Jacoby Decker's year.
Oh yeah.
And so there was always a lot of talk. And so I kind of dipped my feet in the water that year and loved it. Man, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was I don't want to say disaster. It was an experience. I'll just put it like that.
Lots of learned lessons.
A lot was learned. But I thought I have to learn everything I can for next year because next year's the year.
Yeah.
Next year is the North versus South game. I had Chance and Papa, and and a lot of other guys.
Probably some Simsboro kids.
I had Jalen Cook and Reese Beekman.
Oh, yeah.
and all those guys down
man.
south.
A true good North
probably
versus
the,
South matchup.
I wanted that to be the first real North versus South All-Star game.
Probably the Carlos Stewart kid. He just went back
Yeah.
to LSU.
No,
He was 21.
He was
Okay,
21.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
he was the next year.
And of course, I mean, as everybody knows, that was the COVID year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had to
man.
cancel.
Yeah.
And I was sick, man. I was absolutely sick.
Because I'm
But-
pretty sure me and you talked about going to that because of Papa.
Yeah, because we wanted to see him play with all them guys because all we'd ever see him play was with the Jonesboro kids and gets that talent.
And against Lincoln Prep.
And like we watched some of his AAU stuff. I want to see him play like with Jalen Cook and Beekman.
Man, that year was gonna be like the Louisiana Elite Showcase and Reese Beekman. Like they had, I think they had like 8 of the top 10 kids in the state that year.
The Howell kid from St. Mary's.
Yep. So man, but yeah, COVID year was a cancellation, and then the next year I was at the Showdown in the Lake tournament.
Yeah.
And a guy approached me, that was starting to get. He had a kid playing for Dunham, and Dunham was at the Showdown in the Lake, and he was starting a company that was going to be dealing with NIL. And it was before NIL was they were like, he was like, this is coming, like this is going to happen. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And he said, we have an app, whatever. Long story short, it was a matchmaking thing that matched athletes to businesses for sponsorship deals with NIL.
Wow.
And he basically said, we want to treat Fastbreak like an athlete and be one of the first, things that we do through our service.
Yeah.
And that was how Raising Canes and Walk-Ons sponsored the 2021 All-Star Classic.
Really?
And I learned a lot that year too. I didn't have the say that I wanted in a few things. That year, I guess that was the year that I implemented the Session 1 and Session 2.
Okay.
Because when I was coming up with these teams, like in the 2020 game, that class was so deep that I felt like I was leaving 2 All-Star games worth of kids off of the team. I was like, man, I hate this, and I'm a softie too, man. So I don't like the idea of these kids being disappointed, whatever. And that's just a hard part of it. But yeah, so we decided to try the Session 1 and Session 2 thing in order to get more kids there.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're here for. We're here for the basketball and to get everybody involved.
Absolutely.
To help them out.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got that going, and we had a limited number of kids. I say all of that to say we had a limited number of kids that year, and but then last year and of course this year I bring 60 of the top kids that are able to make it. Whatever. 60 of the top seniors come and play. We do 2 All-Star games, of course, Of course, a 3-point contest and a dunk contest. This year, we're actually doing an 8th grade all-star game called the Rising Stars game.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Just to show some kids, that are coming up, and it gives it really is like a cheat sheet for me for where
am I going the next couple years?
So, and speaking of, Ahmad Hudson is a lot of where I'll be going the next few years.
Who's that? Where's he from?
It's actually Hut from the coach at Lincoln
Okay,
Prep.
okay.
His son.
Antonio's son?
So is that Charlita's son?
He
Yeah,
is incredible.
Must be.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
He's
Charlita's
incredible.
married to him.
But some kids had been hitting me up like, you need an 8th grade game, whatever. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Then you saw him.
But then I was like, it could be worked into. I didn't want to have a whole event because there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
I didn't at the time. I didn't really want to have a whole event centered around an 8th grade game because you really got to get into, is it going to be worth it financially to even do it, because you at least got to break even.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured this year, a way to work it into the main event and just make it a whole day thing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, but yeah, man. So we'll have about 20 8th graders. I've got some kids coming, man. That there's a couple that have AAU tournaments that weekend that I wish could come, but I've got a kid coming from New Orleans, Crescent City. I've got some kids coming from Lafayette, Baton Rouge. Of course, all guys from up here. A lot of guys up here are coming. So that'll be really good, man. I'm excited about the dunk contest lineup. That's not released yet, but so
you can break the news here if you want.
it'll be good, man. There's a couple guys, man, that I'm really excited to see what they can do. But yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. We always, my buddy Christian Bonnet, he always does our uniforms and stuff for us, graphic design work, and we've always
He's really good at that stuff too,
really
man.
good.
It's scary how
And
good.
so that's a big part of it is the uniforms. Like, the kids get those.
Yeah,
I mean, we
that's awesome.
we get them for them, whatever. And so that's a big part of it, man. But it's a lot to me. I put a lot of my own personality into fast break, and I think fast break is a lot of my personality.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fast break in the game.
Yeah.
What I want people to think of when they think of fast break is, the flashy, the fun, the, whatever, the cool, whatever. And that's what I want them to think when they think of the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I want them to think that's the game, like that's the game. So, and, of course, want to give the kids something. The main thing when I started doing it was, if I'm not doing this for kids to think at the beginning of the year or 3 years from now, I want to be in that game.
I want to get to that.
So, and, there are kids that'll be like, this is all I've dreamed about, whatever. So it's really cool, but that's definitely the driving thing. It's just having something good for the kids, something good for basketball fans to come see, something, a fun event. And of course, it's a lot of fun for me just getting to be there and seeing all these guys together. And,
yeah. And it's kind of like a final send-off for all the seniors.
Right.
A little fun way to get it out, get out of the high school days, I guess.
Right.
So are you guaranteeing a Lincoln Prep championship in the next 4 years?
Yes.
Are they getting over the hump?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
There we go.
Absolutely.
They're gonna finally do it.
I hope so. I like Antonio, man. He's
Oh,
a
yeah,
good, he's
man,
a good dude,
guy,
man.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, his wife went to Jonesboro.
Yeah.
She's probably a year older than you are. Probably. She's a
Okay.
good basketball player too. So if that's his mom, it makes sense.
Yeah. They got good genes in that family, huh?
Yeah.
I actually watched him at the Showboat Classic. They have games all over, man. And they had one at Ruston. He was in the 8th grade game. And I have not put this footage out yet. So they tipped off the 8th grade game, took 2 dribbles, threw it off the backboard. He jumped up, caught it slam.
Oh!
He put
How tall is he?
Man, he's got to be.
Antonio's tall, man.
I don't know, man. He's tall.
Yeah, I mean, Hud's 6'8", 6'9".
And,
Hud's
in that same game, he put a kid on a poster, poster,
Oh.
and then turned around and won the senior dunk contest.
Oh, my God.
And that made me think of several years ago. It's actually another Rayville kid. It didn't have as much of the basketball, like the Wilson kids did, whatever. But he was a freak athletically. Jay
Was he number
Pleasant.
23?
I think so.
I remember
Jay
him.
Pleasant.
Yep.
And
He was just coming to the game to dunk.
Right. And he was a 10th grader and won the Showboat Classic dunk contest at Richwood, and so that that made me think of that. But yeah, man, Ahmad is gonna be good, man. I told one of Lincoln Prep's assistants, LaShawn Johnson, I said Ahmad's gonna take y'all to the promised land. I said this is it. So, but yeah, man. So I'm excited to see him.
New gym too.
Guys,
that'd be cool to see
yeah,
there.
Man, it looks great.
It does.
It
It
looks
does.
great.
They
It's
deserve that.
Perfect timing too.
They
Perfect
deserve
timing.
that.
Lighting looks good. It'll be some good film. You know? So,
First thing he looked at, lighting and can I get underneath the backboard?
yeah, that's right. That's it. So everything looked good to me, man. But I'm glad, they're getting some new facilities and all that, man, because they were really good to me. I started covering them, I think, Chance's freshman year.
Yeah.
I was there
In that little old gym they had.
when they punched their ticket to top 28 that year.
Mm-hmm.
It was Chance's freshman year. They had Kay Williams and I think Tylen Dean and those guys, man. But
how hot was that gym?
Extremely.
Yeah, it always looked like people just probably in their sweat.
And see, that's another thing too, man. And those good teams with the good rivalries, the gym is always hot.
Yeah.
because there's
That's
so many
right.
people in there.
I think about like when they would play Arcadia.
Oh my god.
I couldn't imagine that.
Arcadia, which they got a new gym too, didn't
Yes.
they? That needed a new one because
yeah.
that gym's been
pretty
bad.
nice, too.
It's been bad and
For them to
packed
be as
for
good
15
as
years.
they've been, they deserve
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
what was it? Like 2015, they won the boys and girls.
something like that.
Yeah.
Right after I got out of school.
Yeah, y'all got any more questions?
But I mean, do you want to stick with just basketball? I mean, have you been ever asked to do like a football?
You've done
or
some
a-
football,
I've done,
right?
I've done
I mean-
some football. I don't do it as much. I was on the.
He
I
got
was
some
on
good
the,
pictures of my brother-in-law this year. oh, number 1 Starks from Winfield.
Yeah. I was on the Trey Holly hype train pretty hard.
Yeah.
Future Dirty Boot sports guest, we're
We're
hoping.
gonna-
Right,
He's
that's
gonna
right.
be on here. Yeah.
You got to speak it into existence.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we got his phone
No, I
number.
got his number.
Oh yeah.
I met him.
But yeah, man. Of course, he's a great guy, man. I love him and his
He is,
family.
man. I
He's-
very impressed.
Man, like
yes.
you would like. It's,
makes
it's
you-
almost jarring. Like,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
really.
like-
And he makes you. I mean, because he's gonna represent this area, man. He's
Right.
like, he's he's gonna do it well.
Right.
Just a good kid, seemed like.
But yeah, man. Definitely want to. I really want to start branching out, even past football. I want to start doing baseball.
Baseball,
I mean,
yeah,
everything. I
like,
really want to
absolutely.
get into everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty around here. West Monroe, the Monroe area, they're
Right.
always good in
Trey
baseball.
Halsey, West Monroe.
Yeah, that's our kinfolk.
That's our
so-
cousin. He had a walk-off homer last year in the semis, and then they won the state championship the next day. He's had like 12 or 11 home runs this
Yeah,
year.
they're the 1 seed again.
He's freaking legit. He's already committed to Tech. I wish he'd think differently. That's just me.
He might not even get a chance for college. Who knows?
That is true. He hits bombs.
Yeah, I know the Manny Union game.
Mm-hmm.
That was I watched that. That was one of the best things I think you've put out. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
The was it 2?
At Manny, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
The year they like
about two-
stomped on
2
the
years ago,
gym
maybe?
or
Yeah.
something like
Oh,
that.
man, that was so much.
Screw,
you could-
screw Manny, okay?
That was
Screw
fun,
them.
man.
They're the worst. He ain't got to say it. I can say it because I'm in Winfield now. They're the worst.
I agree.
I've got some work lined up with Manny currently, so I'm not.
That's Chance
Hey,
Williams,
hey.
Winfield Middle School.
They got
I hate them.
new management going in there, so maybe they'll get better.
I'll talk
All
off
fair.
Not about the head coach. He's a nice guy.
But yeah, so I think that's about it for that. Before we go off, we do a Dirty Five. If you've listened to the pod, it's just a play on top 5, but we throw in our little aspect with Dirty. In very fast break fashion, we're going to do a Dirty 5 of highlight tapes. So give us your top 5.
How do we just?
We're gonna get yours.
Okay.
We're just gonna
All
get
right.
yours. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Oh, I had a list prepared.
Well, we'll do that
some-
later.
I've got some honorable mentions.
I don't want to keep him here all day with us. so.
We don't want to overdo our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
do
some.
honorable mentions.
I've got some honorable mentions,
Like
man.
that.
Absolutely.
And of course, this is going to be a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
that's good.
Okay, on here I've got an honorable mention. Hoodie Rio. I don't know if y'all know who that is.
I do not.
He played for. I think you pronounce it Vashon. Anyway, Missouri, I think.
Okay.
Him and his teammate Cameron Fletcher. They were some of my favorite high school players at the time. This was a couple years I was doing. a couple
Cameron
years
Fletcher
into doing
sounds familiar.
Fast break.
Yeah.
And I actually filmed them at a Thanksgiving tournament in Dallas. and it's a Ball is Life mixtape that they put. It's on YouTube.
Oh,
You
wow.
can look it up. I really love it. Let's see. I've got the Joe Burrow Heisman hype video. With
There you go.
I didn't know if anybody else was going to do
It was
go
on
that
mine.
route.
I've got a Kill Car
Yeah.
Hoop mixtape,
Yeah.
the Crime Stopper, John Wall's Hoop mixtape, and
John Wall, yeah.
LeBron's
Yeah.
Lockout mixtape.
Okay.
During the
Okay.
lockout when they were going to all these gyms
Yeah.
and playing.
Oh,
it's great.
yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay. So just going to the top 5?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
for it. Number
absolutely.
5. Number 5.
Number 5, I've got Andrew Wiggins' Hoop mixtape.
Hey, Dub Nation. There we
He
go.
was- man, he was one of my, very, very favorite players. I was really hoping it would work out for him, several years
Yeah.
into the league, and it was looking like it wasn't. So,
You
that was
support
always
him now,
one that I
though, right?
remember, right.
You support him now? Come on,
Him.
come on, come on,
Him.
come on, come on.
Oh,
Come on.
Somebody
I see
hates the
ball. I see
Warriors.
the ball.
All right.
Yeah.
Steph better, huh?
But,
Light the beam. Sorry.
but yeah, Andrew Wiggins' Hoop mixtape is one of the best ones ever.
He's a great player.
If you look it up on YouTube and watch it, you'll think that, it was one of, and I watched the John Wall mixtape today. I watched all these today.
Yeah,
just to-
yeah, I
just
did
to
too for
prepare.
mine.
So, but man, you watch it and you think, man, this guy looks like he'd be the greatest player of all time off
Yes.
this mixtape,
Yeah,
and that's
he
the
did.
point of a mixtape.
Mhm.
You want to make it
Make 'em look- yeah.
right. That's the whole point.
I think it might be on your list or someone's list. Zion in high school.
That's number 4.
There we go.
Number 4.
Shout out
Like-
Zion.
he seemed unstoppable.
Right.
Honestly,
Yes.
it doesn't seem like he should be playing the same sport.
He is still unstoppable when healthy.
Yes. Yeah.
He's
He
actually
is.
got 2 really popular Ball is Life mixtapes. There's one that is a senior year mixtape that I think it has a version of I Believe I Can Fly, like a trap remix on it. It's really good, but the other one is the best one to me. It says something like he's the best mixtape player of all time. Is he the next LeBron? It's super good. It is awesome. Number 3, I have the Ball is Life million subscriber special called Don't Jump.
Oh wow,
And it is awesome.
that
They go
sounds like it's
through-
gonna be awesome.
They go through years and years and years worth of footage.
I wanna watch
How long
that.
is that?
Their cell phone footage 12 minutes long.
Okay.
I mean,
and
that's
it's
not bad.
it's like clip.
I was
clip,
thinking
clip,
about 30.
And but man, it's got a lot of really good stuff in it. The music is great. There's a lot of, you could tell that was really when people started using a lot of effects and things in mixtapes, and they
Yeah.
kind of implemented that a little bit, but also kept it kind of the good old school.
So
style,
does
like
it
a hoop
go?
mixtape.
Does it go from old to new in order, or does it mix it in?
It kind of jumps around.
Okay,
it
that's
jumps
cool.
around a
That's
little bit, and they, of course, they put the names on there so you'll know,
Yeah, they are.
You know,
Yeah.
How hard is it to find the right music for when you're doing what? Sometimes it just jumps to you. Okay, this is gonna be perfect.
Absolutely.
But,
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
or
it's a struggle, man, because you've got to find something that really fits the game. And a lot of times when I'm filming a game, I'll think, okay, I know this one has this many dunks or whatever, this
Right.
many highlight plays. And you got to find something with enough beat drops to make it work. And,
Sure,
then you need
rhythm-wise,
some
yeah.
B-roll or some slower clips for the parts of the song that aren't that fast. It's just
Yeah,
it's just like an art to it, kind
Yeah.
of, So I mean, it's just it's a lot of feel on.
Well, and that
just what feels
separates you
right.
too. I mean, that to me, that if you hit that right, that
Right.
makes it even that much better. I
Right.
mean,
And
anybody can. I'm not saying anybody, but you could go film something and post something.
Right.
But when you get that music
Right.
with it just right,
That's a whole
man,
other
It's a
animal.
whole. Yeah, exactly right.
And
yeah.
man, that's a big thing next year for sure, and hopefully before AAU season is over, that I want to get back into is when I first got started, it was mixtape.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got 4 kids, I've got a full-time job, I've got baseball games all the time for my kids and
Right,
stuff.
yeah,
There's a
right,
lot
yeah.
going
You
on.
got a
now that
life
I'm-
besides
that
it.
I'm, that I'm older, and
It's not as easy as it probably
Right.
used to be.
so and then of course you got the business side of it too,
Mhm.
and that muddies everything up, But I want to get back to what made me fall in love with it in the first place,
Yeah,
which is the
absolutely.
mixtapes. And I would go to a game, make a mixtape of that game, have it out the next day. If I was up at 3:00 that morning working on whatever. And
Well, I think about the state championship. Do
Oh my
you
gosh,
do you
that was-
post it?
Dude, how do you? I mean, because
How?
my fat butt's sitting there and just watching basketball for 2 straight days. I'm watching you go back and forth all over the court.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, that is tough, and it took me about 4 days to get back right.
Wow, I believe it, man.
30 games. 30 games in 6 days. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure was
that
the
sounds
top
right.
28 man. That part of it is absolutely miserable, but I mean it's worth it, man. It's,
absolutely.
I love it. So, but yeah, man, that's the hype and the mixtape aspect of it is something that I really want to get back to.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So that's what makes me want to do it. So
Mhm.
you know,
Number
this-
2, I
this
believe,
is
right?
one that most people are not gonna know,
Okay.
but I encourage everybody to look it up. Honestly, it could have been number 1, but there's just a clear number 1 to me that cannot be argued.
All right,
and of course, in my opinion. But there's a guy named Aaron Rollo. I guess I'm pronouncing that
Okay.
right. He does like videos and a lot of special effects and stuff. And this was the first one that I noticed he did. It may have been the first one. I know he did one in 2020 and 2021. But there's a 2020 year in sports video
Oh,
that
okay.
he partnered with ESPN on. And I watched it on Instagram, and I had it saved on Instagram forever.
Yeah,
And I would go
yeah.
back and watch it. And it's so good, man. It's got, of course, basketball, football, NASCAR, golf,
Yeah.
UFC, women's sports, all kinds of
I
stuff.
think
Man,
I've
it is-
seen that before,
it is
actually.
incredible. And but it's the 2020 one is my favorite one. The music is perfect. It's just like
Does it have
chill
the?
bumps.
It goes to like all the COVID situation too in it. I've seen something that's done that. That's kind of like mixed in, like Rudy Gobert touching the mic and
maybe
stuff.
so.
You know, it's hard to not do 2020
Right.
and then forget that.
I think a lot of it was. I think there's obviously some stuff about Kobe in it.
Yes. Yeah.
So anyway, that's an all timer for me.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
It's different than most. When you think of a highlight video or highlight mixtape or whatever, it's really different. It's almost something that you would see going into commercial or
Yeah.
something on
Yeah.
a game. You know, that type of video. But it's really good, man. And then number 1, just undisputed to me, is the 2020 National Championship LSU hype video.
There we go. There we go.
It's my favorite sports video
Mic drop.
of all time. It just speaks for itself.
Every
man.
one of
So-
those Twitter videos that year
they were
from that
awesome.
guy.
They
The
hit
camera quality.
They hit every week.
Yes.
It was
like
so
just
good.
phenomenal.
There was one I didn't like. I think it was like the Texas's week one, but I mean, who gave a crap? We didn't know what we had at that point.
No, we didn't. No,
You know,
Week
and then,
one.
like, dude, later.
We didn't know who anybody was yet.
when they really started tapping in to the Louisiana side of it with
culture,
the set it
yes.
off, and then the
Yeah.
swags. This one is the swag surfing one.
Yes.
The Heisman one is the set it off video.
dude, those two.
Those
Those-
are
yes.
the two.
I think it
Yeah,
was-
I
it was,
still go back and watch
right.
those.
I watched them like a couple weeks ago.
And I get chill bumps every
Anthony
time I watch
Mackie, I
them.
think, narrated
Yep.
it. Is
Anthony
that who it
Mackie
was?
did
Okay,
the,
yeah,
the,
from New
championship
Orleans.
one.
And because I could
And
see the
Did
sign.
you know him? Have you
changing
ever
it.
met? I mean, 'cause
No, I think he went to.
He went to a different
USC
school.
maybe?
he went to
Yes.
USC
USC,
actually in
right, and
2019.
then,
Yeah, he
but
got
he's back.
recruited.
But matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that he did some work with the LHSAA at the football state championships this year.
Okay.
He's
Pretty
back
sure
in
that was him that
Louisiana.
did some- he
Yeah.
did some work with them this year.
What a
so,
fall from grace.
Lincoln Riley paid him good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, that swag and oh man,
That's a great
that's
list.
That's an
Oh,
all-timer to me, man.
Yeah.
for sure.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a great list. Yeah, before we let you go, I forgot to mention it earlier. I remember seeing pictures of we mentioned Zion, and it brought it back in my mind. You went and watched Zion,
Yep.
and I believe LeBron and them were there, right? Was that the same event?
It was not the same
Okay,
event, but
okay.
I have seen both of them.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I've not met LeBron. I've probably been.
You're
from-
probably not allowed to meet
I've,
LeBron.
I've been from me to you from him,
Yeah.
and he was looking. I actually have a picture of him
Yes,
looking directly
I remember
at
that.
me.
I remember that.
That's one of the coolest things. I wish I had a better camera at the time. I was actually recording
Yeah.
and screenshotting out of video. That's how I got my pictures then. But yeah, man, it was my very first AAU event I ever covered.
Wow, that's lucky.
Well, that sets you up to fail,
Yeah.
man.
LeBron's gonna be at these.
I could go on and on, man. About just stories from overtime, man. But the Showdown in the Lake was the first big tournament I ever filmed.
Yeah.
When I was down there, man, I was used to these guys up here at the time, and that's a big thing that I learned, man. That when I was at Atlanta, I thought that was as good as it got.
Yeah.
I thought there were these guys, and then there was a small gap, and then there was the NBA. So,
Yeah,
so,
well, you got to see some good basketball
Right,
in Atlanta.
right,
though. Like,
definitely,
Atlanta was a
definitely.
top tier program for
but
Class B and C back then.
But man, when I started doing,
You
when I
start
started
seeing
doing
Madison
Fastbreak
Prep.
and started driving, Fastbreak. Madison Prep had 9 dunks in the first half, fast break dunks, windmills, all kinds of stuff. I said, what am I watching? And
They don't do that up there.
They were
Different
playing,
kind of round ball.
they were playing DeRitter. I will never forget it. And but anyway, I was filming that event, and Madison Prep's head coach Jeff Jones pulled me to the side. He was like, "Look, man, I see you with the camera. You know, blah blah blah. It's like if you really want to do this, we have a game Wednesday in Baton Rouge. Said you got to be there. It's like if you're gonna take this seriously, be at this game Wednesday."
Who'd they
I was
play?
like, okay, Scotlandville.
Oh,
Javante? Javante Smart.
Yeah.
Man, of course I was there. And it was awesome, man. But then I did videos of it. The first big mixtape I ever did was the big mixtape that a lot of people watched was the Showdown in the Lake recap. It was like 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
I had to delete it off of YouTube because of copyright claims. But but anyway, long story short, I get a call at work a couple weeks later, and it's Jeff. It's Madison Prep's head coach, and he's like, "Look, you know, everybody's really into this, you know, and it's like we want to take you on the road, you know, this summer." It's like I've got an AAU team, you know, whatever. I'm the director of an AAU team, and it's Louisiana Elite.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. It's like I'm down. And the first tournament was in Little Rock, Real Deal in the Rock, and Zion Williamson was there.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. This is bad. The picture, I assume you saw that.
Yeah.
Is he in a jersey or is he in warm-ups?
I think he's. Oh, Zion.
I think he's
in warm-ups. Yeah.
The first game he played that I filmed him. I filmed him twice that day. He played. Well, I filmed him once that day. I saw him twice. He played at like 11 o'clock, man. At like 9:30, there was a line out the building, around the building. You know.
Was Ja on that team?
I don't.
I think that was
so.
younger when they did
younger?
that. Yeah.
But so I filmed him then. He put on a show. I did a little mixtape. He actually he retweeted or quote tweeted the video on Twitter with flames. That Fastbreak Twitter account is deactivated or whatever because of copyright for music. Sucks.
Of course it has.
But so I've still got that screenshot though that he did that.
Yeah.
And he liked it on Instagram and everything. But yeah, man, that filmed him that morning, and then he played at like 8 o'clock that night. But it was against Louisiana Elite. I was like, this is perfect.
Really?
This is perfect. Same atmosphere. There was people lined up.
Man.
He comes walking in, and it's like a, you know, like foreshadowing. He walks in. He's hurt. He's not going to play. You know, he
Sounds about right.
Red flags everywhere, man.
He's in his warm-ups. So
Like the MRI machine. I mean,
everybody leaves. There's like 8 people in the gym outside of the teams. And so I still filmed the game because Louisiana Elite was playing, and I was in the presence of Zion Williamson, so I was going to stay. And the game ended, and actually my 2 youngest kids' mom was there with me, and she knew, like, I'd been talking about him nonstop. I had no idea he was going to be there.
Yeah.
I was laying in the hotel the night before and looked up Real Deal in the Rock just to see what would pop up on Google, and it was news articles about him coming. I said, "Oh my gosh!" So
I got to be there early.
My nerves instantly got bad.
Charge every camera battery I have.
yes.
But I'd been talking about him, and she knows I'm very introverted.
Yeah.
And I'm growing out of that, you know, and Fastbreak has helped me a lot with that. But she went and basically grabbed me. She was like, Zion. And he turned around, and he was
yes, ma'am.
He was one of the nicest kids I've ever met. Like, seriously.
So you got to like talk to him.
Yes. I stood there. We talked like it was like 30 seconds, man. But
Still.
it was super cool, man.
Yeah.
She was like, "Look, will you take a picture with him?" He's like, "Absolutely, you know, whatever." And he saw me. I obviously had on the same clothes I'd had on earlier.
Yeah.
I was sitting on the baseline, and he was taking the ball out, you know, right here, and he recognized me from filming. From filming the game earlier. And so he spoke just a second, man. So, but it was super cool, man. That was one of the really good experiences I've had with meeting somebody. I've had a couple that I've never had a bad one, thank God, because that would ruin it for me.
Yeah.
But man, he was super cool. He was super humble. down the
As
talk
a
for a
teenager,
second.
too.
Yeah, right.
Good
So
for him.
and with all of that, hype. So
Yeah.
that was at the peak of the Zion Williamson high school.
Most hyped up player since LeBron.
Definitely.
Well,
was,
and LeBron didn't grow up with social media
No,
hype.
no.
I mean, Zion was coming through when
So
the
like
social
we
media
we've talked about on the podcast about how LeBron's a miracle, that like he's had no scandals and nothing bad on his name, and like Zion, if you think
The
about
GOAT.
him, no, he's not nearly as good as him. I'm starting to get to that point. I'm not gonna lie to you. Zion coming up through social media, it's impressive. Yeah, he's injured all the time. No, he's not going to be LeBron ever,
No.
but he still had no issues. And like we said, he's probably the biggest social media following sports wise ever.
Dude,
I mean, him and the
ever.
Ball brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the Ball brothers, you can't really like them because of the father.
Oh, no,
You know?
that's a reason to like them. Come on now.
They had a whole TV
That's
show.
adversity
man.
right there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, that
It's a
becomes adversity.
miracle they're not all like Jello.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it looks like we're going to be down to one of them now with
Yeah,
Lonzo's
Lonzo,
situation.
like can't walk or
Yeah,
something.
that's
right?
crazy.
He might be done.
Yeah.
Feel
it-
bad for him too because I liked him the most.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked him the most, like watching the show and stuff.
Yeah.
He was my favorite one, and I hate that for him.
I'm going to ask one more question because I know we don't want to keep you much longer. Top player in the state going into next year.
Into next year. Woo.
All right.
Hudson.
Let me glance at the list.
Okay, you good? Yeah, no, you're
Let me
good.
glance
You're
at the
good.
list I've got.
don't
I
wanna leave
I
nobody
definitely
out.
don't wanna-
Easier question: who's going to win the NBA championship?
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
There's a difference in who's gonna and who I want to. So
All right, well, both then. Who's going to?
I would love for LeBron to get another ring. That's what I would love.
I don't even mind LeBron
Take
now.
Anthony Davis out of it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I would like LeBron to get another ring. My team is Miami. Really, that's my
Yeah.
team. I've got a son named Wade after
Hey, they
Dwayne Wade.
they won one.
So,
D Wade. I like D Wade growing
Yeah,
up.
man,
I liked
yeah.
him.
He's hard not to like. I
Yeah.
mean, he really was.
Oh yeah, I like D Wade.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate he beat Dirk for that first ring, but I mean, it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Dirk
Dirk got it back later.
Dirk- yeah.
I think he's gonna come out of the East.
Really? You think the West could be too beat up?
I think it's gonna be Boston or Philly.
I
think
would
it's
like
gonna
to
be
see
Boston or
Philly
Philly.
win. I'd like that.
I would like to see Philly win too.
Yeah.
I really would.
And we talked about this the other day too. Joel Embiid, feel good story.
Right.
You know, just
And somebody's gonna
bust, and then now he's legit. You
right.
know?
Somebody's gonna take each other out in the second round. I think. Right? Am I right in thinking?
Yeah,
that?
they'll play
Yeah.
they'll play each other next round,
So somebody's gonna be out. But
and then the winner will probably play Milwaukee.
Oh, no doubt playing Milwaukee, I would think.
Unless the Heat. I know the Heat are down
Hey, there goes
20
Kenneth
tonight.
Lofton.
Yeah. They don't have-
Who you got coming out the West?
They,
I mean, it's kind of tough
Phe-
now that
Phoenix
you've
is the
seen what
easy
you
answer.
think Phoenix gonna do
Phoenix
it though.
is the easy answer. Like I say, I hope it's the Lakers. But I think Phoenix is the easy answer. I don't believe in Denver.
Yeah,
I just
don't think anyone does.
They compared them to Gonzaga the other day.
No,
Minnesota
it was the
Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota
I
Vikings.
saw that.
Yeah.
that's pretty
That
good.
is a phenomenal comparison.
As far as the 2024,
Top player.
one thing that's interesting is one of the top players is number 1 or number 2 tight end in the country. And-
East Feliciana.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually talked to a guy at Rivals, and he used to be at Rivals. He's not at Rivals anymore. And he told me the only reason that everybody doesn't have him number 1 is that people are scared, or I don't know what this has to do with it, but people are worried about how much he likes playing basketball.
Yeah.
It's
And
the Anthony Edwards stuff.
right.
Remember
And
when all
he-
that happened?
He
Well, Keon Coleman from
yeah.
Ascension Catholic, I believe.
Opelousas.
Opelousas, that's
Yep.
it.
He's one of them. When you think back about guys, I wish
Oh,
I
yeah,
could
he was
film
awesome.
every day. Man,
Quadruple
he's one of
doubles.
those. Yep.
And I mean, now he's up at Michigan State. Went as a two-way guy, and now he's only
Right.
doing football.
Yep. But Trey Green is the East
That's it,
Feliciana
yeah.
kid. I've been filming McKenna Savoy at North Central for it seems like 10 years. But when I was there, I guess Derek Tezano may have been a junior.
North Central got their first win when they beat Jonesboro.
Yeah.
2019.
With the woman head coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
2019 was that.
And but he's gonna be up there. Let me see.
So they think the East Feliciana kid's going to pick football?
Surely he will. He's the top tight end in the country.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, he can go
assume
anywhere
that
he
he's
wants.
going to, but
Yeah.
he loves playing basketball.
I know a coach that likes tight ends down in Baton Rouge.
I do too.
Hey,
Just
hey,
saying.
he can play both.
Just saying.
They need help at basketball.
Well, hey, Alabama got the last one from this year before last, so
Yeah.
we got to watch them.
I mean, East Feliciana, North Central. That's not where you expect a top
Right.
player to come from.
Yeah,
that's cool.
right.
One that's really he kind of introduced himself to me this year on as far as like okay, here's this kid. Did y'all see any of the 5A division, whatever it is, Ponchatoula?
Yes.
Yes.
But you text us about that.
He is
Is
legit.
he? Is he not legit?
Yeah,
I
he's
texted
awesome.
guys in the group. I said,
You said it was the best player you saw that
I said he's the
weekend.
best player I saw all week.
He was good, man.
Dude, he's so
awesome.
good.
That's a long way down there, man. But I gotta make that drive.
Dude, you
That's
got,
the water.
Dude,
That's the water.
like with his side, I started out watching him and I was like, okay, kid can shoot. He's got some good moves, you know. And then the fourth quarter, it was like getting close, and he started handling the rock.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, I didn't see this. Like, not at his size at 6'8". I mean, very impressive, man.
And another one that I really like, man, Cam Williams, actually Greg Williams' younger brother at Lafayette Christian.
Okay.
He is.
How do
he's
they get
extremely
these
good.
kids, man? Why do they go there and not Lafayette High?
That's a completely different conversation.
Yeah, like
That's off mic.
I mean, it's we all know the answer.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same reason John Curtis gets all these kids too, like Will Allen, who lives four hours away from the school and lives with the secretary or something.
yeah.
But so that Lafayette is the biggest school attendance wise and population wise in the state of Louisiana, and,
And
they
their
don't win
sports are
nothing.
like, yeah.
I don't think they have a football team.
I don't
think
know.
they do. I think they're like Rapides and they don't have one.
Wow. They
They just don't play football, or if they do, they suck, which makes no
Well,
sense
if you
because
don't have a football team, you've got to have a good basketball team.
yeah,
So
there's
Yes.
no
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
picking one, you know.
Wow.
All right. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll keep our eyes out for those, and especially Lincoln Prep when they're going on 4 straight
Absolutely, man.
championships.
That's
That's right.
You heard it here first.
We did.
So they've never won one.
I think they might have won it back with as Grambling,
Yeah.
but I know like Chance and them always made it down there and just
Right.
couldn't finish the job.
A lot
And
of
then
the
this
a lot
past
of
Cat
year,
Panthers.
running into North Central just
Yes.
like this year. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, so
yeah. This has been awesome though.
Absolutely.
Went a little bit longer than
Really
we thought.
enjoyed
It's
it,
been
man.
about an hour, but I mean,
I could be here for 3 more hours.
yeah, it's. I'm telling you,
Be
it's fun
honest.
just to get behind this mic
Yeah.
and
It
talk.
is.
It really is.
And come next school year, I mean, I know you traveling a lot and stuff, but I mean, we like to have you back. Man.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
give us some
I would
updates
love to,
on the
man.
high school
love
basketball
to.
in the state. And,
Or even to talk about the NBA playoffs.
yeah, hey,
I'm
man, whatever,
down for
man.
whatever, man.
You know, because you watch all the games probably, don't
Yep.
you? Yeah.
Many as I can, man. I'll be sitting at 9 and 10-year-old baseball games with my phone watching.
I got one last
Warriors.
question. Why do you hate the Warriors?
I don't hate the Warriors. I don't hate the Warriors. I'm just not a big.
You
fan.
respect them at least?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely.
Good.
They
What about
got-
Draymond?
See, the thing that people don't like about Draymond is really what I don't like about Klay Thompson.
Okay,
And
hold on.
people
What's
never-
this?
Oh, Clay.
Oh, here we go. Clay
Clay's
set
got a
up.
little. Clay has gotten a little arrogance.
Oh,
to him,
absolutely.
Oh,
you know,
yes,
and,
he
has.
and that's
But
yeah,
it
he
sh-
lets everybody know all the time.
Yeah.
It shows more here in the last couple of years.
Right. It's
and
like he's getting like old
'Cause he's
man
losing his
syndrome or
step.
something.
because he's
Yeah.
getting older and he knows
He's losing his step,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I definitely respect him. I'm just not a big. I'm not a big Warriors fan. Like, of course, like my sons love Steph Curry and you know, all
Absolutely.
that. I
You
do
got
too,
to.
you know, whatever.
Got to.
So
Most
But-
influential basketball player of all time.
I was
Honestly,
very
one of them.
anti-LeBron for a long time because I was such a big Dwayne Wade fan.
Uh-huh.
Well, on my 16th birthday, it was either when he announced or when he signed with Miami. Miami was my team.
Mhm.
I was like, so then that started the LeBron.
Yeah.
You know, LeBron. I've been with LeBron
Not
ever
one,
since.
not two.
So
Well, you say I'm not your just normal bandwagon fan. I want to get that clear.
Uh-huh.
I was a Harrison Barnes fan coming out of North
I
Carolina.
love Harrison. See, I love Harrison.
See,
Barnes.
I love
My-
Duke.
Well,
and
my
he
my,
picked
my
North
heart,
Carolina
my
pissed
heart's
me
been at a
off.
freaking. I don't know what's going on with me after he apparently hates Draymond now. There's an article that came out today.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
does Mike Brown, it looks like.
I don't want to get into that. But I didn't have a favorite NBA team at the time. Harrison Barnes came in. I'm like, wherever he gets drafted to, I want to be a fan of them. He goes to the Warriors.
I like
I've been
Harrison
here ever
Barnes.
since. So And I still support HB.
He's
absolutely.
playing well too.
He is.
Against
Man,
them.
he's
I
poster-
like
he
that.
postered
could
Clay
have been,
twice.
man, if he just made a couple
If
threes
he didn't go
that
5
year.
for 34 in the finals from 3.
What could have been?
Yeah.
KD would never get a ring, probably.
Yeah, I mean, we just run
Where
it
would
back.
KD
and
be at?
Still
That's-
bouncing around.
honestly,
the
who knows?
That was
Yeah.
before he started bouncing, though.
What? Yeah.
Where would him and Russ be?
Does he go to Washington? That was the other team that was rumored
Yeah,
to.
people.
Yeah, that
Do
would
they
be-
both go to Washington?
Everybody goes to Miami. That's what happens. So
Been in Miami?
Hey, that
you
tax
blame
break,
'em?
baby. No taxes.
Yeah, this has been fun, man. I
Awesome.
think we're going to end it on that.
We appreciate it.
Right
a lot,
about an
man.
hour.
thank y'all for
So-
having me. Thank y'all for
Absolutely.
having me, man.
All right.